Welcome back to Brave Birds News, one of the best places for sports. And I have been sitting on this video for a while. I was like, should I create this video? Because I didn't want to have egg on my face if the Braves had one of the biggest comebacks in the history of baseball. But at this point, we're entering the second half of August, and it's pretty obvious that there is no statistical way. I know you're like, Walter, that's not totally right. There's no way. All right, yeah, I guess they could win the rest of their games and might end up as a wild card. But let's just keep it real. There is no way that, based on anything we've ever seen in any season in the history of baseball, that the Braves are making the playoffs this year. And if the Braves made the playoffs this year, as we've seen, because they've been in situations not as bad as this, they would exert so much energy in the regular season trying to get to the playoffs that if they made the playoffs, they would do what the Braves do best and get eliminated in the first round by a lesser team. So when you saw my thumbnail, your reaction to it really depends on how big of a Braves fan you are, and or how big of a MLB fan you are. Because first of all, before we even talk about the Braves, there are five teams who have never won a World Series. Two of them won't necessarily surprise you because they're relatively new teams. But you have the Padres. The Padres have been in the league since 1969. So we're approaching what is that? We're approaching 60 years in the league almost, and they have not won a World Series. So what I'm saying is it's not the most provocative thing in the world, but it's kind of crazy considering what we know about the Braves. And then you have the Brewers who have been in the league. I'm looking at my other screen since 1970. And I mean, that's kind of a weird mixed history because we know the Brewers, kind of have a Seattle Mariners history, kind of have a Brave, Milwaukee kind of has a Braves history. But as far as the Brewers concerned as a team, they've never won a World Series. And then this is when it gets really sad. The Mariners, who came in the league in 1977, they're the only team who has never even made a World Series. And that is hard to believe when you think of Ken Griffey Jr., you think of Alex Rodriguez. I mean, you think of all the great players, Randy Johnson at one time, they've had over the years. The Mariners have never even made a World Series. And then you have two of the teams that started in the 90s. The Rockies have never won a World Series, nor have the Rays, when they at one time called the Devil Rays. So, yeah, so when I say that the Braves will never win another World Series, I mean, they've already won two. So there are a lot of franchises that would love to have one and definitely love to have two. And then, I mean, getting even more personal and closer to home, you have the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are going into their year 60 of being in the NFL. We know they've made it to the Super Bowl twice, both times somewhat of a calamity. The second time more calamitous than the first time when there were a lot of off the field issues, and we know what happened the second time. So the Falcons, 60 years, never made it to the World Series. I mean, not World Series, never won. They made a Super Bowl. Obviously, they made it to the World Series. They've never won a Super Bowl. And then you have the Atlanta Hawks, and then they have a little asterisk because the Hawks franchise won a national championship back when people shot the ball, underhanded into a 9-foot basket. I just made that part of it up, but you get what I was saying. They won way back in the day in St. Louis, but in their 55 plus years in Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks have never, won an NBA championship. So even our own city, we've seen this. So the fact that the Braves somehow, I mean, stumbled and clawed their way into two World Series it's a Georgia miracle because we know the we know Metro Atlanta is cursed. Now I know you say, well, the Bulldogs, they're a good football team. I mean, they could have won a couple more national championships, but we're going to say Athens is an exurb. We're not going to include Clark County in this funk of jinxness that is the 5 county metro area. So I mean, you look at the two times the Braves actually won a World Series. They weren't supposed to win those years. In 2021, we lost Acuna to injury, and a different kind of general manager would have just probably gave away all of our parts at the trade deadline. But I think not having Acuna made the team looser. They were more relaxed, and you had a lot of players on that team that kind of had a different kind of vibe and a more relaxed vibe, and they actually won. And then in 1996, I mean 1995, excuse me, 96. That's when we thought we were going to have the dynasty, right? 91. I mean, first of all, it's sickening to know all of the Hall of Famers the Braves had in the 90s to only squeeze out. And we squeezed out that one World Series. But we know we had a lot of chances in 91. We know we had that great team in 91. They were just surprised to make it when we lost to the Twins. And then we had that great team in 92 that lost to the Blue Jays. And then we couldn't even get past the Phillies in 93. Then there was a strike in 94. In 95, we won, but it took David Justice and Tom Glavine to do their thing. And then in 96, we were up 2-0 against the Yankees and we blew it. And then all the blah, 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 all of the calamities. You don't have that much time to hear about all the calamities of the Braves. So, yes, I am saying it. Based on what I've seen in 2022, 2023, 2024, and this year, we are going to enter a Falcon-esque 60 years in the World Series desert. I mean, what it took 26 years, my math, 25 years between 26 years between our first one in Atlanta. So I mean, even if it was like the last time, a lot of us ain't gonna be alive. A lot of us gonna be really old. So yeah, this is the new normal. Soak in 2025. This is the new normal because the Atlanta Braves, see, like I'm getting specific with it, the Atlanta Braves will never win another World Series. I mean, let me know your thoughts. What do you think? I mean, on paper, we were supposed to be the second or third best team in baseball, and we stink. I want to hear your comments. I want to read your comments. Put them there. And otherwise, I'll talk to you next time.